this evening's topic, very simple. Really how to handle difficult clients without losing the deal. Okay, you followed up, you followed through. You even got the damn docs, but now your clients are ghosting. Nitpicking, blowing up your phone like it's a hostage negotiation on Capitol Hill. No, you're not crazy. They are actually difficult, but they don't have to kill your deal or sanity. Episode 23, we're going to show you how to, really handle the difficult clients in which, you could decode buyer chaos, reframe the conflict as a whole, and also teach you how to turn drama into dollars. Even when your client is giving January 6th energy over a term sheet.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think you just caught the title from drama to dollars.
Yeah, that's it, and that's what we're gonna go through. Actually, so funny that this is
What
the
the hell
topic.
happened January 6th? I'm trying to understand still.
No, some stuff happened. Some stuff happened a little bit ago. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, just before Jose was actually on the phone dealing with a difficult client, and he was going like this with the phone, wanting to get off the phone. But I mean, this is something that we do on a daily basis. It's something that we're not going to make money if sometimes you don't have to deal with the occasional, the twos and fews of, just difficult clients. People that think that they're an expert at what we do, and people that think that they know better than what we do just because they sit home at night and they Google information. Now they have infomercials showing up on their social media. They think that they're a guru in finance. Tonight we're going to kind of show you how to overcome some of the objections when dealing with difficult clients that think that they know more than you, or just to kind of try to teach you how to handle certain situations so you can keep your cool and overtake the power dynamic in the situation with you and the client, and then turn those conflicts into
That
dollars.
sometimes clients aren't really difficult. They're just either scared, they had bad experiences, they don't want to deal with bad brokers. So a lot of the times, what ends up happening is that's the reason why they give you so much pushback. That's the reason why they start asking you so many questions. Which questions aren't bad, as long as you know how to control the conversation.
Yeah.
What you said earlier, yes, 100%. I had a client on the phone. Now, the thing with the client, it wasn't that, she was basically just giving me information that I really didn't initially need to get the deal done or to understand what her situation is at the moment.
She was over talking,
Exactly.
over explaining.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was really what was going on. But difficult clients, we get them all the time. But it's just understanding how to manage the client's expectations and obviously set the correct, not even boundaries, but set the correct programs in place in order for them to be able to go ahead and divulge the information that you're looking for.
When you say that, Jose, when you say, I guess kind of push like push them in the direction of the right program, does that mean almost like setting correct expectations,
Yes.
no matter how difficult they are? For instance, someone comes in and they want a line of credit, but they have a 500 credit score, right? They're going to be difficult, pushing and prying and saying, "This is all I want. This is all I want." But it's not about what they want, right? It's about what they qualify for,
Correct.
right? So is that what you mean by pushing towards like the
Yes.
correct program?
What they qualify for, setting the correct expectations, because you don't want to have a 30-minute conversation with them and at the end of the day, they don't meet the minimum criteria. And that's the reason why today Albert and Lucas are here joining us, is because what they focus on is more sending over the qualified clients, whether it's leads to closing, setting up correct expectations, or if it's Lucas focusing more on the CRM or education on the CRM triggers, etc. Just understanding, setting expectations with the client. Now, Albert, leads to closing, right? There's a lot of I don't want to say lead generation because I don't know if that's the right word, but there's a lot of marketing involved. There's a lot more that goes behind the scenes for you to get a qualified client, correct?
Absolutely. No matter what industry you're in, you have to deal with potential clients, right? There's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of it all comes down to communication at the end of the day, because clients can be difficult no matter what industry you're in.
How do you pique their interest so that out of all the thousands of links that are out there for them to click on with regard to business funding or real estate, why do they click on yours? What's so special about your message about what you're portraying that makes them click on yours over other companies?
That's a great question. It all comes down to a lot of research and psychology.
Okay.
Okay. Especially in today's age, because there's so much information that's going out there. So many people are running campaigns. People are getting bombarded all day long. You have to almost paint the picture at the same time, let them know that they have that option. They have that choice that they didn't know they had before. So again, you have to have the right wording. And it could be a combination of different things. It could be static image ads. It could be video ads, and it's how you portray it and use psychological trigger points to get people to move down into your pathway as opposed to somebody else's.
You're a genius. You're a genius.
Wow, there you go. Those are the fans.
Wow.
Fans.
Is that what everybody's saying?
That's what everyone said.
That's what everybody's consensus is, Albert, from what you said. You don't have a bad client problem. You have a leadership gap. There's a leadership gap at the beginning of the conversation with who's going to be the expert on the call. Okay? Now, yes, they are shopping around. Yes, they clicked on my link for some reason. So I need to be the expert on the phone so that they know that they clicked on the right link.
Right.
But that kind of leadership dynamic starts from the initial conversation, from the initial us qualifying them. Because again, I need to set this standard on the phone where I don't care if they take my deal or not. Whatever is the best that I have to offer and whatever they qualify for is what I'm going to offer. I'm not going to lie to them like a bunch of other shops are going to lie to them. I'm not going to tell you that you qualify for a line of credit where you're not even paying your personal credit cards. I'm not going to be that type of person on the phone.
Now, just to bring it full circle, right? Now,
Yeah.
we have the client. First of all, we have the interest. We speak to the client. Client may or may not be interested at the moment. The
Hold
next
on.
thing is,
There's one step before that because you might be competing with a bunch of liars too.
Yeah, yep.
Right? So
Great.
so they might be promising the world for these people and they're never gonna get it. So they're coming in already with the guards up because they're like, bro, I've been lied the entire way through. Why do I need to believe in you?
right.
So you have to break that barrier in that very first conversation where you set yourself apart. Like,
Yep.
bro, I'm looking at your statements. I'm looking at everything that you provided me. You do not qualify for any type of program. If they're speaking otherwise, they're lying to you. I allow you to go back. Just save my number. Whenever you bump heads into a wall, you just give me a call back because I'm the one that's actually looking at your file and I'm the expert here. They're all bullshitters and liars. And they're going to come back to you.
Yeah. It's just setting the expectations. And like he said, right, in today's sale is no longer that car salesman mentality. You have to understand that when you speak to a lot of these clients, even if they're intent leads or they're hot leads, called hot leads or transfers, the client already has their guard up. Now you have to de-escalate the situation, but understand that. And the way that you do that is by educating the client. Well, Bob, I'm not calling you for a cash advance. I'm not calling you for a daily payment program. You know that there's other programs available, but let me ask you first question. What's your credit score? Lucas, what is the next step as far as nurturing? Because I know you do a lot of that. Retargeting, you also set up triggers within the CRM that allows us to keep that client engagement. Right now, how do you determine the length? You text them or email them after this period, etc. What would you say you've seen that has worked for you?
It really depends on the program, depends on the industry, it depends on the season. It's just there's no way. There's no way for you to know.
Depends on your blood type. Go ahead,
Blood
Lucas.
type, there's so many
What else?
variables. If you know the sequence, you just let me know because I want to apply it. It's a try and error. You
Well,
can
look.
create a bunch of different sequences, and some of them are gonna hit, some of them are not.
They find something they're interested in, they fill out a form and say, yes, please, I need help. A lot of times you have to filter that, right? So there are ways to filter who's who, what are their credit scores or credit score ranges. So you already understand what type of person you're dealing with. The good thing about LendMate Capital is they offer many different solutions so that you can lead in different pathways after all of those steps. But one thing is for sure, every single one of those steps, you have to have the right communication every step of the way, set the right expectations, the way Jose said, have the initial messaging so people know what they're filling out forms for. And then from there, you have to guide them every single step of the way.
Yep.
And it has to be a smooth operating machine like a Swiss timepiece, all the way from the initial form fill to processing or to building rapport to closing the deal, and then you have the processing end of it, right? And there's a lot involved. There's a lot of nuances involved, and every step of those nuances, you could also create the triggers, which is Lucas. Lucas does phenomenal with that. It could spin so many different ways, but you have to put them in the right buckets, and you have to have the right messaging every single step of the way. Once you have that, you also have to have the whole floor. I mean, it's an operation. At the end of the day, it's all about making money and closing the deals and having that smooth process from beginning all the way to the end.
You have to understand how a client thinks. You have to understand what the client is going through.
Yep.
You have to understand and see it from their perspective as far as to what the client is going to say. An expert in this industry, if you consider yourself a sales guru or a broker guru or whatever you want to call yourself, an account executive, is understanding not just what the client's needs are, but also what the client's emotions are, right? Once you understand those two, you can present any product to the client. If you understand how a client thinks and only ask questions that you already know the answers to, you're golden. There's no way that you are not becoming successful at all. Because one thing I do is I already know how I'm going to lead the conversation. I already know what the client's going to say before he or she says it. Because I know the questions that I ask. And I only ask questions that are going to give you two answers. It's either going to be a yes or a no, or I do or I don't. Right? And that's just it. Understand how to control the conversation. Practice on your pitch. Focus on what you can actually control, for lack of a better word.
So you guys know I always, do my little spiel at the end of episodes, all right? Let's just, keep it really frank, right? Right? See if I'm saying right again, just like you say that. We're going to give a toast, even though I think most of us are out of, are we out of liquor? We're not out of liquor, right? Well, listen, we're on a toast, here's to the brokers who don't fold when the pressure hits, to the ones who handles chaos, calm, to the deal savers, not the deal blamers. You don't need to control your clients. You need to control your character. And when that's on point, the close is inevitable. And one last thing, guys. At the end of the day, your client isn't toxic. They're terrified. You need empathy to handle them, not ego. It's okay to pump your chest to show that you're an expert. You don't want to beat anybody down, because at the end of the day, the best lead that you can ever get from anybody is a referral. Word of mouth. Someone that's going to send you the most business. Hey, listen, if you don't think that these guys, these ladies and gentlemen that you guys speak to on the phone, if they don't know that they're being assholes, they know they're being assholes. They're going to say, hey, listen, this guy, I was being an asshole to this guy. He called me cold calling. He handled me like a champ. And then guess what? Everybody else that I sent my file to, I didn't get approved, he got it done. That person is going to refer your number to all their friends, and you make them a client for life. And you know what? That is, cue the music, Lucas.
Let's go.
Cue the music. Cue the music. See, this is why I need to be in control of the music.
There's no music ever.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this evening. To my right, I have Albert K. Love, a.k.a. Ocean. To my left, I got Jose Martinez, a.k.a. Jose Martin, after hours. And to his left, I have marketing at LandgateCapital.com. That is Lucas. His English is not really that good, but his marketing is the best.
Good looking.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice evening.
Look at this. What does it look like? Look, what does it look like?